Have you ever wondered how those product animations have perfect cinematic lighting? Well, you've come to the right place because I can show you how to do that in just 3 steps. And let's get on with the video. Okay, we're here in Blender right now, and there's going to be 2 parts to this. First, the lighting, and the second is the finishing touches, just to add a little bit of flavor to your scene. Now, you've probably heard the 3-step lighting process many times before, but this I have my own way of doing. So here's what I mean. We're going to first add the floor plane, just to give us a little bit of a base to start off. And then first we're going to add the rim light. Now the rim light is a light which wraps around your object, giving it a shine and makes it stand out. Now usually people use an area light for this, but I have my own way of doing this. First we're going to add a black background, and over that we're going to add a emissive plane. Now here's what I mean. Make sure to have your camera open because you need that. First we're going to add a plane, scale it down, rotate it on your axis so that it's parallel to the camera. We're going to move it back so that it's not clipping into the object, and make sure that we scale it so that it's just around the edges of the camera. Once we've done that, we need to add a shader to this, and we're going to add a new texture, make it 100% black, and we're going to make sure that the metallic is 0 and the roughness is 1. This is to ensure that the light isn't being reflected off and isn't creating weird artifacts. Once we've done that, we can actually go ahead and add the actual light. Now just make sure to remember that on this side of my screen I have the rendered preview, just so we can see what we're doing in real time. A good way to do this is by duplicating the plane that we just added and then scaling it up so that it's like a rim light. Make sure not to scale it too much or else it'll become soft and it won't really add that shining effect. Right now you can't really see anything, but that's because we haven't added a texture to it. So we're gonna get rid of the texture on this one, and we're gonna add a new texture. I'm gonna name this light. Over here, instead of a principal BSDF, we're gonna add a emission shader, just like that. And now obviously you can't see too much of it, but we can change that by making the strength higher. Now as you can see, there are a few weird looking shading issues going on the floor, but that will be fixed, trust me on this. So once we've gotten the rim light on the product, we can start adding the main light. Now this is on your personal preference, but I like my main light shining from the left of the scene. So to do that, we're gonna go into this view, we're gonna grab our light and we're going to duplicate it and move it so that it's rotated and facing our object, just like that. You see, that's the light and that's our object. Now we don't want to make this too big, we'll scale it down. Remember, this is your personal preference. Mess around with it, see what fits best. I'm gonna turn down the value as well. That looks just about right. Now what we're gonna do is, as you can see, if we create the main light, we also need to add a soft light, because this can cause a few artifacts such as harsh shadows and just a little bit of graininess and unnaturalness, if you know what I mean. To fix that, we're gonna go into the z-axis and we're gonna duplicate this and move it on the local z-axis right behind. Make sure that it's outside the camera. Once we've done that, you can see that some of the artifacts have been cleared up. And as you can see, the background does look a little too dark, and you can change that by changing either the color or the roughness value in the shader editor. And you can easily turn the color up just like that and the roughness down a little, but I'm just gonna keep it at this. And we're also gonna change the floor color, and if you want you can add cool textures to that, but for now I'm just gonna make it black and slightly glossy by making the metallic value high, just like that. Now once we've done that, we've basically gotten our 3-step process of the lighting. Now this isn't the best scenario. This lighting works mostly on glossy stuff such as a bunch of makeup products and stuff like that. Now what we're gonna do to add that little bit of spice is go into the light and into the shading texture. we're going to add a color ramp in the beginning to get that gradient, plug it into the color. Right now, as you can see, it's either a shade of white or black, basically any shade of gray. But to fix that, if you have the Node Wrangler add-on turned on, you can click Ctrl T. We don't need the image texture, so we can get rid of that and plug in the texture coordinates generated to the vector. And now it's going to create this pattern, and we can adjust the pattern by adjusting the sliders. And as you can see, the pattern is starting to emerge. Right now it's at an angle, but we want it to be parallel to the Z axis, and we can do that using the rotation here, and that looks just about right. And we can change the slider so that it's only the edge that's coming up. Now if we go back into the layout, we can see that the lighting has decreased a lot, but that's because we've added a whole new part of the light. It's black there, so it's obviously going to go down in brightness. We can change that by, well, turning the strength up until it looks good, just about there. So the reason we did this is because in more glossier areas, it'll give different patterns to the reflection, just giving it a little bit of spice to the scene. Well, that was it for today's tutorial. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and the notification button so you don't miss out on other amazing tutorials just like this.